Hi, my name is Tom. I'm a professional makeup artist for I think 15 years right now. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. It's been such a long time since I filmed a new video. I had some subscribers DMing me on Instagram asking me when I was planning to film a new video. It's always the same shit, like explaining why I didn't film another video. So today I want to film a video and show you guys the difference between if I do my make up my skin for a, let's say, more extravagant glam Instagram post, photo shoot, makeup, and the difference how I do my skin when I want to go out and I don't want to be looked at as I'm like I'm a freak or whatsoever. Not that I'm saying if you wear makeup that's a little bit more extra on a daily basis that this is wrong. Of course not. If you feel good about it, it's all good. Let's just jump into the video. I'm gonna pull out some products. If I wear skin makeup for a daily basis, obviously some of the products will differ or be different from when I do a full coverage makeup for my Instagram. And of course the technique is also gonna be different. Whatever you choose, whatever technique you choose on a daily basis, that's fine, as long as you're happy with it. And of course, the point is not to look blue, pink, or green, obviously, as I sometimes do when I post on my social media. So let's just jump into the video and just start with what I normally do when I do my skin routine. I will do one side for the Instagram, social media, and the other side will be how I wear my makeup on a daily basis. So whether I'm filming a tutorial for Instagram or YouTube, or when I do my makeup for a daily basis, I always start by cleansing my skin. Even if I already cleansed my skin, I'm using the Embryolisse lotion micellaire. When I use this product, I always have the feeling that my skin feels a lot softer than when I wouldn't apply this product. I also do it on a cotton pad. And I did clean my skin this morning, and as you can see, or probably not can see, I don't know if it's really visible, but there's still a lot of dirt on this cotton pad. And that's a typical thing for a micellar water, because it's really a lot more deep cleansing than, let's say, just like when you splash a bunch of water into your face in the morning. So let's talk a little bit about my skin. Nowadays is okay. I'm not complaining. I don't have a lot of breakouts. I do have discoloration in my skin here and there. And for the rest, I do have to put a disclaimer. I am not pro cosmetic surgery, but I do Botox, I have to admit. It's been a while, I think it's been 4 months, so I definitely need to go back. I only do this because cosmetics are mainly my focus, and obviously I want my skin to look as good as possible, and that includes wrinkle-free. Some people will say wrinkles has its charms, and true. I also think when I see somebody else, I'm not like judgmental if I see a skin that has more fine lines or whatever. But for me, it works the best if my skin is as, you know, possible, just to, I don't know, I have to do less Photoshop. I don't know, I'm not setting a really good example. What are your thoughts about Botox? For me, Botox, it's the same as you would probably, we all shop or do our hair, well, not mine hair, but we all go to the hairdresser or go to the clothing shops for nice clothing because you want to feel good and look good for yourself and maybe for others. I don't know what your goals are in life. I think the skin is not any difference. So, and it's something that dissolves over time. You have to do it, you have to repeat it over 3 or 4 months. Otherwise the effect loses. After I cleanse my skin, it's almost empty. I definitely need to get a new one. I'm prepping and hydrating my skin with the lotion Embryolisse. I'm using this one just because it's been my go-to. Skincare works really well with any kind of makeup that you put on. If you wear a lot of makeup on your skin are just a tiny little bit of makeup. You don't want it to look too dry, because that's gonna be, then you will get this cakey effect. And just to have like a really nice hydrated feeling will also be beneficial to the end result in your makeup. It's not gonna look too cakey. Your foundation is gonna blend out even better. I don't need to put on a primer, because basically this is a makeup base and a hydration in one. Never change a winning formula. Next up, if I do my makeup on a daily basis, I start to even out the discoloration in my skin, and therefore I use a concealer. I like to use a concealer that's buildable. This concealer, this is from a not so known makeup brand. It's an Italian brand, Misado Milano. I use it when I teach makeup because it's affordable and they have tons of different concealers, foundations. What do I like about this concealer? This one is a cream concealer. It does blend out really well. I'm just gonna apply it underneath my eyes. Also, I like to cancel out any blues underneath my eyes. Blues, purple, like I have a little vein here. Also here at the outer corner of my eyes. And I also like to apply it a little bit in my crease, just to even out my brow bone. Then I apply it on my nostrils here, because sometimes they do tend to be a little bit reddish. Have some discoloration there. And if I would do this side, I would probably go over this, but I will do a different application on this side. And then I just start to kind of buff out and blend this concealer. I start inwards and just work my way out. Here I'm using a synthetic brush. It's from MyKitCo. It's the 1.12, and I use it for a lot of things. It's just like this kind of a multi-purpose brush to me, especially for creams or liquids. This is kind of a warm concealer. It's the medium color with a red undertone. So the reds in this concealer, which tends to be a little bit more like a kind of a peachy color, will immediately cancel out any blues. And that's why I don't need to use a lot of the product. A common mistake a lot of people do when they try to cancel any blues underneath the eye or any discoloration is to use a color that's one tone or a few tones lighter than their own skin. Even if you have like a yellow undertone, I do have like a more neutral undertone, neutral to red undertone, especially here in my neck. You can see I'm a lot more neutral than on my skin. I catch some sun and and color on my face, but I see a lot of mistakes. Like if you choose a concealer that let's say if you have like a yellow undertone, that they also use like a yellow undertone underneath the eyes, and that's a common mistake, because if you would put yellow on a blue discoloration, you'll get like a greenish, grayish, ashy tone underneath your eyes, and that's not what we're going for. Also, if you use a color that is too light, it will turn out gray. So try to go in your skin tone. Sometimes I even choose a color that's slightly darker, if that makes any sense, as long as there's enough peach and red inside to just cancel out any discoloration, then it's fine. Of course, you can't make it too dark, otherwise you're gonna have like a big mask on your skin as well. This concealer blends easily like you saw, but it also sets itself quite good. It's not a matte, it's more like a satin finish. So that's the most natural finish to me. Next, I apply a foundation, and the foundation is also from this Italian brand. It's called the Perfect Skin Foundation. For my foundation, I like to mix two colors. Here I'm going to put a more yellowish undertone. This one is in the color Sand. And I'll also apply the color Almond, which is more red. I did put a lot, I don't need that much, but I will definitely use it for the other side later on. I like to use a brush, like a fluffy blend brush, instead of more like a flat. This is gonna really pack on the foundation, and this is gonna more feather it on, as you will. So I'm just gonna take first the almond color. Just give it a little swatch, and you will see it will kind of brighten up my skin tone, because I do have a lighter color on my neck. And I'm just trying to really softly feather it on and not really taking a lot of product and just like swiping it on. I'm just like feathering on and trying to blend it out into the skincare as good as possible. This is gonna take away some discoloration, some redness, but like on a really soft way. Yeah, this is probably the most that I do. You can already see the difference. This looks a lot more smoother. Before I powder, I sometimes do use the lighter concealer just to brighten up some areas. I just put a dot here, maybe here in the center of my eye, and then maybe some here. And I'm just taking the smaller brush and just brighten up some areas, especially here underneath or in the inner corner of my eye, on my cheekbones, just to, you know, make them stand out a little bit more. And also on the middle of my forehead here, just to brighten up this color. After this, I'm just using the slightest amount of setting powder, just taking a bigger brush, and I'm just dipping it in like once. I'm just even tapping the excess product off, and I'm just going to set in places where I know I will build up a little bit more oil during the day. That's most of the time here, then here on my nose, the inner part of my forehead, and with the rest of the product I just like kind of blend out. So now we can see immediately the foundation looks a lot more matte than it did before without losing this kind of a soft sheen. I do have a really bright lights in my studio here, so maybe just for the purpose of that, I will do a little bit more powder than I would normally do, just to give you guys the result that I'm normally going for. But I do love like a little soft sheen on the skin, because if you make your foundation or your finish too powdery, too matte, it would look immediately too powdery and too dry. And I rather just powder a little bit more during the day and build it up, rather than just put a lot of powder just from the get-go. So then I use a powder this kind of looks not that dark, but on the skin it does translate as a more bronzy kind of look or feel. So I'm just taking the same brush where I used my setting powder, and I'm just dipping into the pan just a few times so you can see a little bit of color. This is like a baked powder, so it's not totally matte, and I'm just kind of just gently warming up my skin tone here on the sides of my forehead, just to make my face look a little bit more narrow, and also on the top of my forehead, because I do have a big forehead. Let's just be honest. Now, this is what I would wear on my skin just for a regular day makeup. But let's say if I would go out and have a drink with my friends or just go out to dinner, I do sometimes use the same powder that I use to bronze my skin, and I'm just using a fluffy eye blend brush, and I'm just swirling it into the bronzer. I'm just slightly increasing or warming up my crease just a little bit. Try to not go overboard, because I do want it to look more natural. Also, when I go out, and I do love highlighter. I know a lot of guys, if you would wear makeup, you would probably not do this, but I am a makeup artist, and I always think like people probably expect me to wear a little bit more. You can already see that I do have a little bit of a sheen here. With the same small brush, I sometimes, and when I go out, I love to use a kind of a shimmery powder and just like brighten up my cheekbone, or the highest point of my cheek. That's already a lot. Sometimes I even do like a small amount of it on my eyelid, and just like a little bit on the bridge of my nose. But really, like in natural lighting, this will look a lot less bright than on my studio lights, but this is basically how I do my skin. I also use a light pencil with a kind of a grayish tone. This is the lightest pencil I have, and I just softly define my brow a little bit here on the lower part of my brow or lower contour part, and then I'm just filling in and just extending my brow just a little bit. Also, I'm gonna put all of the products that I used in the description below. What I love about this pencil as well is that it's waterproof, it's a turnable pencil, it does have like a little mascara wand or a spoolie brush on the back side, which always comes in handy if you want to, before you sketch out your brow, just to groom them a little bit, just to see how the end result is going to be. And then I'm using the Soap Brows, and I use that with a disposable mascara brush. I'm just spraying some fixing spray on top of that. I'm just taking out the product and just combing up the hairs. This will make them appear, the hairs appear a little bit more thicker, and also it's going to kind of set them in place. And this is basically how I do my skin. I feel like this side does look a lot fresher. This looks a lot more cleaner and fresh, as it's supposed to be. When I do my makeup it's a total different thing. I don't start with my skin. I basically do start with my eyebrow always, most of the time, not always, but most of the time. And when I use a concealer, I use for my makeup looks or my special makeup looks, I tend to use a lot more full coverage and a lot more liquidy. So here I have the Giorgio Armani Power Fabric. This is the 5.5, and I'm just going to do it on a disposable lip brush because I do like to use this kind of an applicator. This one is a lot more dry as well than my regular concealer, and I just kind of sketch out the contour of my brow. You see, I do use a lot more product. If you use a lot more product, obviously in the end result, you will see a lot more makeup laying on the skin. This also is gonna be lifting my brow a lot more. And I'm just pulling this onto my brow bone. I'm going to use the same multi-purpose synthetic brush, and I'm just gonna blend out this product downwards. I'm not gonna touch the defined line here of my brow, because when I do like a more stronger look, especially for my social media, you can also comb down the hairs just a little bit. And I also sketch out the top part. And you see these applicators just work really well. I didn't fill in my brow yet, but still I already see where my brow is going to end up. Most of the times I do my brows first. I know a lot of makeup artists don't do this, and then they're saying it's really hard to kind of do the skin afterwards if you already do the brow. But if you do it like this and you apply a concealer in a color that's close to your skin tone, you won't be needing to put your foundation very close to your brow, because you already have the concealer right here. Then I use a slightly darker brow pencil. This one is the same Forever Brows in 203, and I'm just gonna fill in. I'm about to fly. I'm just gonna fill in my brow. Also, if I do a look for social media, I'm not really concerned that there's going to be more makeup on my face. There you go. So this is quite a bit stronger already. You can use the spoolie or a brush to kind of blend out the product here at the start of the brow just to create this kind of a faded look. I'm not going to do my eyes today, I'm just going to focus on the skin. So the next step, I would probably just apply a eye primer and just start with the eyes. After I finished my eyes, I just clean up my under eye area, just so if I have any fallout. That's why most of the times I do my brow first, then my eye, because it will destroy my skin or my concealer. Obviously this brow is a lot more artificial than this one. This one looks a lot more fluffier than this one already, but just to counter that, I will also use my soap brows. Also comb up the hairs. I will probably exaggerate this as well, just to have like a lot of texture in my brow. And then I start with applying concealer. I'm just going to use a disposable lip brush and just in a kind of a triangular shape. So this is, you can already see the big difference if I would use my products on a more natural way. And then I'm just going to blend out, just gonna take my inner eye, also this portion I just blend out first, and then I'm going to blend out this to the rest of my skin. I also use my beauty blender just to kind of press this into my skin, and you can already see that this is a lot brighter. Like on camera, this does look a lot more flawless, but in real time, if you would see it, you would see the product just like laying on top of my skin, because I just used a large amount of product onto my skin. Then I'm going to take my beauty blender and just gonna take a lot of foundation from the palette. I'm using the same colors, but I'm just mixing the two of them. And I'm just going to some stamping motions. I'm just gonna build up this coverage. And again, I'm not worried that this will kind of make my skin a lot lighter, because I do use a lot of bronzers just to warm up my skin. And don't forget, if you slack on a lot of foundation, just don't forget to take your ears, because your ears do tend, or mine do tend to look a lot more red. And sometimes I just even take my neck just a little bit, but I didn't shave my neck, so just need to be a little bit careful. So in the beginning, this side already looked a lot more even than the natural skin. You can already see the difference with the big lights. It does not look as bad as you would see it really up close. Before I contour or just add any other powders, I'm just gonna add slightly more powder, especially on the under eye area, because there is a lot more product there, and I do need something to set it even a little bit more. If I'm going to add bronzing, contour or whatever to my skin, it's gonna help blend out these powders. I'm just going to take my bronzer here and my angled brush. This is my defining contour from My Kid Code 0.4, and I'm just going to build up and just kind of give my skin a lot more color. This is also gonna bring out more red. Just add a lot more color to my skin. I'm just gonna leave the middle part as it is, just to get the maximum kind of a bright spot in the middle of my face, because when I create makeup looks, I tend to focus on the eyes a lot, and then it is important that this really stands out. I would also do a little bit on the sides of my nose, just a little bit. Really depends on the look. So I am going to do a fixing spray first, because this is going to kind of melt the powders together, make it look a little bit more skin, and also this is going to make my skin a little bit more moist, which will help to really build up my highlights a lot stronger, because when you have a lot of powder on your skin, the skin tends to kind of not absorb any other products anymore. So if you use like a facial, like a mist, a spray, setting spray, this will kind of help to make you build up those blinding highlights, as we would say. And I'll probably also add some on my brow bone, also on the bridge of my nose, and also here. So there you have it. If you see this side now and this side, I can already tell that it is a big difference. Of course, I do add a lot of blush or whatever eyeshadows even on my skin to just make the eye look more cohesive and more stylized, if you will. So basically that's it. That's how I do my skin on if I would go out, just to go out with friends or whatever, I want my skin to look slightly more better, but not like, you know. And also the amount of product that I used here is not meant for a daily base or a daily use or day makeup. So this is also really powdery, because I use a lot more powder. I know on the lights it looks really good, but in real life you can really see the amount of makeup that I used. If I do a beauty makeup on a client, I mainly focus on enhancing the skin rather than just like covering everything, unless they really ask me to. From the moment I know that the makeup has to last like the whole day, and they're going to be standing in natural lighting, like outside and garden party, baby showers, weddings, I tend to go a lot more with this technique, maybe brighten up the eye area just slightly a little bit more. I'm a guy, and for me this is already enough. It makes my skin look better, but it's not like too perfect that it makes it a lot more unnatural. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you also learned some things, whether it is from this side or from this side. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see me do more videos like this. I do have some things lined up, and I'm going to try to upload a video every other week again from now. I'm sorry for my absence, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.